As the awakening process was unfolding, first let me clarify. There is the realizing of the truth, and that is not an event or a process. It's just realizing. But there can be layers to that. An intellectual understanding is very different from experiential understanding, from knowing it in your cells, in your bones. As the process was, as the realization was deepening for me, and still is, I recognize more and more often that when I try to talk about it, people don't know what I'm talking about. I will refer to awakening, and funny enough, I think a lot of people conflate that or think that means woke. And they're very different things. I think when I became woke, I was not awake at all. That's not to say that a woke person can't also be awake. But as this was deepening within me, I think there's more understanding than ever, more misunderstanding than ever. Um, there's a phrase: "It's lonely at the top." I when I think of this, I think of the top of a mountain. Climbing a mountain, the closer you get to this sort of end of a journey, the less people will be up there. And people can only meet you from where they are in consciousness. So, talking to them about an awakening, I think it can often be perceived as arrogant to describe being at the end of your journey and to know the truth. And I think there's so much extremism in the world that kind of clouds those concepts. Ultimately, what this means is I know one thing. I know that when my mind subsides, consciousness remains. And that is me. Because the mind is able to completely go away and I remain. So I am consciousness. And when I'm in that state without the mind, I also experience with my body, I experience like as I'm there, oneness with all things. And this is something that I experienced 17 years ago that people experience on psychedelics. When you remove the inhibitions, the current misperceptions about the apparent boundaries of these forms, this is something that appears to you. So this is why there is this one universal truth, because it doesn't require faith. It doesn't require a system of belief. It is. You when you remove all bias and misperception, just go beyond perception altogether. This is. Everything else, I don't know. Teachers can talk and talk about things around this one knowing. And there are things that you can directly observe about this world of form that you can say, I saw this, it occurred in this way. And yet you can completely understand that it's still not universal truth, because in other parts of the world, life may be lived differently. In the animal kingdom, life is lived differently on another planet that experiences different physics. They may see different things. They may have receptors that can see more of the electromagnetic spectrum than we can. So ultimately, what the spiritual path, if we call it spiritual, we're really just seeing this one thing that's right in front of us. But we call that the spirit. The one thing that Ultimately, what this path shows us is that we don't know anything and that that's okay. And we're not even here to figure that out. We're not here to figure out Earth and being human. Earth and being human are parts of the game that we're playing to learn about our true selves, to return to love and happiness that we are. So, on this journey, as you find yourself with perhaps less and less company in your way of seeing things, it matters less and less too, because you come home to yourself. You realize that you are the consciousness that you are is in everything, and there's no way to be lonely. You begin to see that consciousness coming through the kind of failed attempts to be happy in everyone, and all becomes love.